Hey everybody, what happened to my intro? I pushed the button. Let me try that again. One of those nights. Okay, we're starting out great. So you can hear me, and there it goes. Hey, computer finally woke up. Can't start without this great intro. Yeah, Pondamore says the audio is good. That's great. Yeah. Oh man, computers like me had a brain fart. All right, I'm here. How you doing, everybody? Good to see you. Well, I guess I see Carlos is in the chat. So I guess, is Ed done? Is Ed finished? You guys have just torn up the airways today, my friends. I mean, torn up the airways. Live streams all day long. Live flying. Wow, it's really something. And I'm watching a lot of it too. It was great. It was great. Let me start by saying hi to everybody. Welcome to the FPV Workshop. Paulie, Drone Bum, Flying Ace, man, doing good, Paul. I enjoyed watching you fly out there. Got a little crowded out there at the park when all the baseball players or softball players arrived, but that's a nice place to fly. Looks like you guys had a good time. Tomas O'Sullivan is here. Hey, Tomas, how are you doing? Good day, Mars, my friend from down under. How you doing, buddy? Good to see you. I guess it's tomorrow morning for you already. So it's Mars from the future. Mike, Night Train, boy, you did some ripping around today too on Ed's live stream. That was great. I enjoyed that. Let's see who else we got. Joe Blaylock, how you doing, Joe? Good to see you. And Jody's here. How you doing, Jody? Pond and More. Good evening, sir. Artco Drone Solutions is here, and he's making faces at me in the green room. Jaybird Joe, how you doing? Ray Kelly is here. Enjoyed your video on Mel's live stream, Ray. So good for you. Carlos, back from the sky. Love my drones. Ed Raid. Okay, cool. We like those. We like raids. A lot of people. Minnesota Paul, how you doing? Ed's done. Okay, man. His timing is impeccable. And if Carlos and Ed haven't had enough of being on the air today, they'll probably stop by, keep me company. Then Artco, we got Artco. Let's see who else I missed. Rat RH, how you doing? No, you're not late. You're just in time, my friend. Good to see you. AZ Drone Dude is in the house. How you doing? Repeat. Rat, Joe Blaylock, Jaybird, got you. Oh, my buddy Pete Nunez is here. Hi, Pete. How you doing? Pete's the guy who's local, and I got some stuff to show you. Because Pete it turns out is a man of full of surprises. And he had one for me this morning when I went out to the flying field. You'll all get a kick out of it. So, and I did. It was amazing. So Pete, good to see you. Thanks for coming in, buddy. I hope you enjoy it. And Mars and Paulie and Ray and everybody, Joe and Mars, and I think that's it. I think I got everybody. No, there's more. Hold on a second. Pete Nunez, love that smooth jazz music. Yes, sir. So do I. And that's it. Okay, everybody, welcome. And only way I can get him to stop making faces at me is probably let him in. So there he is.
Yep. I'm here.
Art, how are you? How are you this evening?
I'm doing pretty good. My blood pressure has come back down after seeing what happened here in town last night with the riots. Or last night.
Yeah, I made it through about half of your show again today. Listening to all that.
Yeah.
Well, sorry to hear that. I hope it all stays away from you where you live.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the one downtown was less than a block away from where I work.
Yeah, but that's not where you live, though.
No, I'm way
Yeah.
far out of downtown. Yeah,
Yeah. Well, I'm glad to hear that you're all right. Don't let it
yeah,
don't let your blood pressure get too high, and hopefully
yeah.
they'll stay away from you and with all that lunacy of theirs. But
Hmm.
no, it's ugly. It's ugly.
Yeah.
But try not to talk
Let's
about
go fly
politics
some
tonight.
drones.
Let's play with some drones tonight. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
that's what I
the
did this morning.
I
Went
saw
out and
that. And had a smoke rise. You filmed the smoke rise.
yeah. Hmm.
Yeah, the Sunday smoke rise. I saw that. Oh, Eric is here. RC Crazy.
Hey,
Hey, Eric, how
RC
you doing?
crazy.
Eric, I can't believe you've never been to this particular stream before because you're white in the chat. So we'll see if we can fix that for you and
And
rent
hello,
you. So
Jim.
there you go. All right. And Jim Boyd is here, back from the sky. Hi, Jim. How you doing, buddy? So I sent out a bunch of invitations. We'll see who shows up.
Cool. Cool.
The big event for me past couple days has been this thing.
Yeah.
And sorry, like I said, on Thursday night I apologize because I didn't do the live build of it, but I did build it, and I test flew it on a real kind of hazy gray morning a couple days ago, and then I took it out this morning and put a flight on it, and then
Right.
just we all got, and then me and the other guys we all sat around just talking and forgot all about flying. The next thing we know, it was windy as hell and got hot, so we all went home. But I'm going to show you some video
Cool.
from this thing, and it's amazing. I did last night. I got around to putting the GPS module on it for the
Okay. Cool.
for the GPS rescue. So it's like a fully loaded. It's got all the swag on it. It's got the GPS module buried down inside here, where you can reach the button to turn it off with your finger. Sticking it right in there is one of those lost quad squealers that makes a lot of noise.
Okay. Cool.
And I put a 1500 4-cell on top,
Wow.
and it'll even take a bigger battery than that. It doesn't, you don't even notice the weight. It really is something, and it flies different because of the shrouds. It does fly a little differently. It
Yeah.
flies a little more stable than
Oh, okay.
the quads do without the it seemed to anyway, but it's only a 3-inch quad. They're only little motors with 3-inch blades, but
Right.
because of the big shrouds, it looks much bigger.
Oh,
than,
yeah, it does.
I don't have that 3-inch here. It looks much bigger than a normal 3-inch, but it's interesting, and I like it, and I can see why the popularity of these this Cinewhoop style is
Right.
coming on because well, here, let me first talk about my friend Pete from the field this morning. Well, Pete, and here shows I pull up at the flying field,
Right.
and hold on a second here. Let me get this all set for you. Okay, I show up at the flying field.
Hmm.
You ready?
Yeah. I'm ready.
And this is out there at the flying
Oh.
field. This contraption.
Cool.
Can you see what it is?
Yeah, it's a landing pad, and it looks like one of those tray tables.
That's Pete there, by the way.
Yeah.
That's Pete. Let me say hi to everybody. Say hi to Pete.
Hi, Pete.
And this is something that he built
Oh, cool.
because he flies drones. He has a Phantom 3, and
Nice.
he built this, and it's like a picnic table, but it has
Yeah.
levelers on it and level bubble levels, and it's huge, and I couldn't fit it in my car, but that's what I saw when I got out there this morning.
Mhm.
It here, let me see if I can Here we go. Change. There's a little further shot of it. There it is with my little Cinewoop on it, so you can see the size of that thing.
Mm-hmm.
And there's Pete getting ready to fly his Phantom off of it. But it was tremendous. But it did come with some challenges. So
Right.
I went ahead, and this is the
Mm-hmm.
the Cinewhoops sitting on the table, and I'm going to get myself out of this picture here
There you
so you can see it. And this is the goggles recording from the little Cadex Vista DJI thing. One of
Right.
the things that I do have to adjust on it is my camera angle was a little low, so the horizon was up kind of high. In other words, when I bring it up to where it should be to get the horizon in the middle, it's gone very slow. So I need to do that. I need to adjust the camera angle. But other than that, this is just a stock Betaflight tune, and there was no jello, no prop wash oscillation, no nothing from it. It just felt it smooth as a camera drone, and I was really surprised. And it'll move along pretty good. You'll see in a while. I do speed it up a little bit, but I was just flying around, nothing fancy. I just wanted to get the just to get the feel of it. You know, how much rudder do I need in the turn? But look how smooth this thing flies. And again, this is just the goggles feed. This is not from a GoPro mounted on top. There's no stabilization added to this whatsoever. And
Wow.
I really wasn't trying to do a cinematic flight where there was a lot of flow in all the movements and everything. I just was flying it around getting the feel of it. But dumbfounded, absolutely amazed. It is without a doubt the smoothest flying quad that I've built so far. What do you think, Art?
Cool.
What do you think, Ed?
Huh?
Huh?
I was working on getting chat going and stuff, man.
I'm surprised.
Looks good, man.
What's that?
It looks good. You're cruising along. You're moving a good little clip.
Yeah, it flies. Now here's something that I did. I went around behind me, and the camera went and changed. You can see it changed like the white balance a little bit. I don't know if I can adjust that or not. But I am gone way away from me, behind me, with 20 trees. You'll see when I turn around exactly where I'm sitting behind all those trees, way up at the upper right, upper left-hand corner. And I'm sitting behind those trees facing the other way
Yeah.
with the goggles pointed the other way, the antennas. And I didn't get not a pixelated nothing on the video feed. The video feed stayed
No, it
rock
looks
solid.
beautiful, Mitch.
And I was really surprised. I was testing it to see whether it would drop out or I'd start to get a little pixelation. But that DJI thing's got tremendous range. And this particular quad is the first one I put Crossfire in. You know, I got that Crossfire starter kit, so this was my first experience with Crossfire, and the range is tremendous. So I think the next time I go out to the park, if the weather's good in the morning, I'm going to sit on the other side of the trees and face the length of the park out towards the playground, and I'm going to see if I can't make a nice slow cinematic cruise all the way out to the ends of the park. Maybe cruise around across.
This?
This is that. I'll show you what this is. That Cinewhoop that I built.
Oh, it's okay. I was thinking it was still a center what you're talking about. That's amazing, man. For a three
Yeah,
inch bird, the way you're cruising with it.
and and like I say, I flew it with a 1500 4 cell, and I could, which is the same size battery I use on the 5 inch quad, and I could put a bigger battery on this thing because I'm not carrying a GoPro, or it'll carry a GoPro as well, and it's not noisy. Now, here's the question of the evening: can Mitch, as old as he is, through the goggles, actually land on that thing?
Huh. Yeah.
I would skid off of that in a heartbeat.
And the guys out there were definitely egging me on.
Nice
Nice.
job.
Cool. You made it.
I did.
Awesome.
I did.
Mhm.
So that I didn't even have to put that thing into the wet grass, which is something I always have to do out there. But this is the quad, Ed.
Cool.
The quad cost. Here's what it cost. Unfortunately, you got to buy if you want DJI, it's $150 for the CADX
Yeah.
DJI system, and that's
And
the
you gotta
little.
have the goggles in the first place.
Well, yeah, but I've got the goggles, so
I know
Right.
that, but
Yeah, but this, if you take that 150 out of it, this thing costs $32 for the frame, about $50 for the motors. That's about 82. 40, about 45 for the flight stack. This has got the iFlight success. I know it sounds
Sussex.
dirty, but it's Sussex or Sussex
Yeah.
or something, flight stack in it. So
Did you
and if you
have
count the
success with
receiver
that
and the
success?
GPS, if you count the receiver and the GPS and the battery powered lost quad finder in this, it's about $150. So
Not
when you
bad.
add the DJI thing to it, it's about $300.
Right.
But the good news is, unless you lose these things, if you really bust them up
Yeah.
and break them up, chances are all those parts you're still going to be able to take out of them and use somewhere else. So
Right.
unlike a Mavic or something where when you break it,
Yeah.
it's broke,
Yeah.
But I'm pleased, and I'm looking forward to doing a lot more flying with this. It's a joy to fly. It's very stable, very smooth, and even at my level, you can see when I landed on that table, I didn't have any problem getting it to stay in one place and hover, and it was breezy out there this morning too. So
Right.
anyway, that was my
That's cool.
big adventure, and I want to thank Pete for bringing that
Right.
Hollywood style helipad out with him this morning. He has a truck.
yeah, that was pretty fancy.
It was neat, wasn't it? I'd never seen anything like it. And I mean,
Right.
when I drove up, he didn't know I was coming. So he brought it out there, and when I pulled up, I said, "What are we having, a picnic out here? What the hell is this?" And then Paul says they do great with a GoPro. Oh, I can only imagine. I think that to put a GoPro on that. Now, of course, the footage that I do record in the goggles and what you were just looking at is 720p, which
Not
qualifies
bad.
as high. It qualifies as high def. 720p is considered high definition, but it's nothing like 4K stabilized GoPro footage. So I think that I might 3D print a GoPro mount for it.
There you
Or
go.
Maybe just a mount for that RunCam 5 I have, which is not as big or heavy as a regular GoPro
There you
Hero.
go.
I hate to put my expensive GoPro Hero on quad.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying. All right, let me take a look and see what's going on in the chat here for a second. Ed, you had a hell of a fly-in today, man. You had some real rippers on there between Mark, Rigor Mortis, and Mike, Night Train, Adam. Boy, I'll tell you.
Getting a nice group.
And you, man, and you.
Yeah, okay.
Well, I couldn't just compliment everybody but you, could I? That would have been. Well, I see we have JSK Enterprise in here. How you doing, my friend? Good to see you.
Then we
Who else?
got,
A lot of people. Got
Mad
30
Kiwi.
people watching. Oh, Craig is here. Hi, buddy. How are you, man? I
Hey,
haven't seen
Craig.
you in a while. Good to see you.
Yeah.
Good to see you. Who else did I miss? Mad Kiwi.
Rick Halber.
From New Zealand. And Rick Halbert. Yeah, Rick is here. He was here earlier, wasn't he? I saw his name.
Maybe.
How you doing, Rick? If you're still here. Oh, EBR is here. Good to see you. And it looks like Ed is flying. We're going to get to see some flying while we talk. Paulie is back, and that's about it. That's about it. Where's Carlos? I'm surprised that Carlos hasn't come in.
I'm wondering if I wore Carlos out. I don't know.
Well, Carlos had a busy day. You know, he started out there this morning with Paul, and
Right.
They must have what, a 3-hour live stream out there?
2 hours, I think.
2 hours. And the way he did it, the way he was that, whose idea was that? Was that yours or his, or did you all figure that out together?
No, he kind of came up with that on his own. Well, first he did it on his rooftop yesterday during my live fly yesterday. But he could still connect to the check out that inverter. Y'all spend, thank you very much. He was right above his apartment, so he's using his apartment's Wi-Fi. But today he was using his phone as a mobile hotspot for his laptop.
Man, you know, I tuned into that, and it took me about 30 seconds to figure out what he was doing. But for the first 30 seconds, I was going, how the hell is he doing that? You know? And so what he did, because the thing that we're all trying to do is to be able to live stream from our FPV drones. Now, you know, if you have a Mavic, it's all built in. You put the RTMP address in the Mavic, in the app, and and the key, and away you go. But capturing the FPV feeds. In fact, I was supposed to be on Oz by Drone on Friday night. I don't know how many people watched that little disaster, but he had Wirecast and it crashed and never got. But I mean, I prepared for it. I had all the props, everything set up. I had my all connected. Was on there talking to Lloyd and him in Rendezvous. We were all ready to go. Went live. He started, his guest host was Jeff Sills, and Jeff was there, and they got started. Got about 10 minutes into the show, and the whole thing crashed.
Oh man!
And what I was supposed to be there was to talk about various ways to live stream FPV stuff, because Greg does once a month, he does that live fly from all over the world, and it's mostly camera drone guys, you know. Chris Hope does it on there, you know, because that's easy to do. But we've come up with a number of different ways to capture it, and the thing that Carlos came up with was very clever, and might just be that it requires some equipment, but it might just be the best way to live stream from the field. And what he did was he took his notebook with him and ran StreamYards, live streamed from StreamYards as if he was on a regular computer. Of course, it's a computer. And then he used his cell phone as a Wi-Fi hotspot to connect to the internet, which you can do from anywhere. So now he basically had a home computer set up out there in the park, connected to the internet, and then from there he could run a regular StreamYard live stream, just like I'm doing, but switch whenever he wanted, switch the input to the SkyDroid receiver that picked up the live feed from the drone, and it worked great. It worked super. And he and Paulie flew around all morning like
Cool.
that, and the notebook hung in there. I was surprised the battery on that notebook lasted that long, but I had things to do. I went away, I came back, they were still at it. I had more things to do. I went away, I came back, they were still at it. I don't know when the hell they finally ended. And then, as if they hadn't had enough, right after that this afternoon, Ed comes on. And you went from what, about 4 o'clock to 8? Ed?
Huh?
You went from what, about
Yeah.
about 4 to 8?
Wow.
It was 3.5 hours.
Yeah, Mars, that's true. If you're not in a good cellular service area, your hotspot won't work. But on the other hand, if you're trying to live stream from your cell phone, that you have the same problem, I would think. Mike at Night Train said, yeah, 4 hours. And Mike, he came up with yet another way to do it, and he had one of these little boss cam things, little tiny screen receiver, and he just was streaming from his cell phone. So he just took his cell phone camera and pointed it at the little screen and held it there, and it wasn't half bad. I was surprised how usable that was. So everybody is coming up with all kinds of different contraptions and ways to do this.
To me, the coolest thing ever is to have different people be able to fly on the same stream. You know what I mean? And rotate around. I think that's just the coolest thing ever. I don't know.
I agree. I think it's very entertaining, especially because it's all the guys that we know. It's our community. It's like, it's as close as you're going to get to me calling you and saying, "Hey Ed, drive on down here. We'll get together with Jim and Dan from Tampa will drive over and we'll spend the morning flying." It's as close as you're going to get virtually to do that. And more people are starting to participate. Better and better pilots that really put on some tremendous flights. And as soon as I said tremendous flights,
Good evening.
Guess who showed up?
What's up?
Hey,
Ed.
Carlos.
Long time no
Doing good?
see, guys, huh?
Yeah, right. Hello, Ed.
Paulie says,
The Velocidrone, Carlos.
Say again. I'm sorry.
I was on the Velocidrone this afternoon.
And
Yeah.
how'd you like it?
Nope.
You had
Fine,
fun with
getting
it?
better
Like it?
each time.
Good.
Not
How did you
crashing as often. And
good. Now
Very
do
good.
that.
Glad to hear that.
Do that
Yep.
for at least 1 hour a day. Find time, 1 hour a day.
Okay.
Do that.
1 hour.
Do that. Yeah. You put 20, 30 hours in on that simulator, and then you'll be amazed. You'll be amazed how much how much it helps.
Yep.
Who we got here?
Joe Block.
Buds Coins
Hey,
is here. How you doing, my friend?
Hey,
Good to
Buds
see you.
Coins.
Oh, Bill Metrodrones, $10 super chat.
Hey,
Thank you, sir.
great.
Thank you so much. I appreciate
So, Mitch,
that. I saw
overall,
you.
the video came out okay. The flying video quality. Came out
Yeah,
all right?
yeah.
Decent?
You know, I mean, as good. The Tinyhawk has a much better camera and video transmitter than that new drone you got.
I know. It's floaty, but it's
Yeah,
it's a new toy.
But
Get used to it.
but at least I know you guys don't know this, but I get it. I get an email from these two. The two I'm talking about are the two on the bottom, Ed and
Oh yeah, that's right.
and
Yesterday.
Carlos. So I get an email that says, join us for a private live stream in StreamYard's having a problem. So I joined in, and the three of us actually fixed the. Carlos got a new drone, and the video, he couldn't get the video channel to show up in his goggles there. So we worked around that, and we did get it. We did get it
Oh,
fixed.
good,
And-
good.
Mitch, I want to just say
Yeah.
good evening to Mr. John Coopy, who has joined us.
Yeah,
Oh, John, how
Hey,
you
John.
doing, buddy? Good to see you.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, and
Yes,
who else
Mr.
did I
Mitch
miss?
allowed me to fly my drone today because if it wasn't for him, I'm not sure what we would have done.
Cool.
So thank you, dude.
You're
Professor
welcome.
Dude.
You're Professor Dude to you. Thank you. Thank you very much. No.
You respect.
No, I was happy to. It's a shame it didn't wait till today. We could have done
I
it on
know.
the live stream tonight, and everybody could have seen what we did. But what it involved was
A lot of CLI.
settings in the a lot of settings in the CLI. And Carlos, did you ever download the latest version of the Betaflight configurator?
No, I have to go. After we did all that, I was tired. I was charging batteries. Then I had to get ready for tomorrow. I mean, today, which was tomorrow, yesterday. You know, it was
10.7. 10.7. And what I wanted to show you, and let's see if I got a drone here that's on.
It was a busy day today.
I
think-
love that statement, Carlos.
Which one?
The one where you said today, wait, it was yesterday because it was today or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah. You know what I meant. It made sense, right? Sort of.
No, I knew what you meant. It's like, what are you, a day behind? Or
Oh, that's
what?
right. We were even chatting with John Coopy for a while on that stream. Right, Ed? He was in there.
Yep. Yeah, John Coopy hung out for a little bit after we shut it down. So
Carlos, I think
Yes,
that the Tinyhawk 2 is on Betaflight 4.1, if I'm not
I
mistaken,
think
isn't
you're
it?
right. Yes.
So what I want to do is I want to plug in my little Tinyhawk here,
There
because
you go.
that's what this is. This is the FPV Workshop. Thursday night is the FPV,
Yep.
is the Drone Guys chat session. So let me
Yep.
plug this in here. Let me get Betaflight up, and
Okay.
make your screen different. There you go.
There
yeah,
you
let
go.
me
So
plug it in
bossy.
again. All right, and let me connect. Okay, what I was telling you about, if you can see over on the left here, okay,
Yep.
there's a tab that's, Carlos, that says video transmitter.
I am looking.
See it?
Yes, sir.
See that right there, video transmitter. When I click on that, what it does is it brings up what's called a VTX table, which you've never seen before. Above the
I've never
VTX
seen it
table,
before either.
You've
above
seen the table.
VTX,
You've just seen it. You haven't seen it on Betaflight. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
okay, above, remember all those settings we changed in the CLI?
Yes.
You can change all of those right here.
Right there. Nice.
You can say Fat Shark Band, Channel 3, Power. You can have a different frequency for pit mode if you want. Low power disarm.
Oh,
On.
right. That's right.
See, you can,
Yeah.
and that would have, in a half a second, would have made all those changes. It took us 10 minutes for you to type in manually in the CLI.
Chicken pecker. Yep.
So if you had the latest version of the configurator, what took us a half hour to fix would have taken 2
Minutes.
Because I would have taken you right in here to the video transmitter tab, told you, oh, the reason the problem is you had nothing. You had channel 0, power
It was
0,
question
remember?
marks. Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
question mark.
I remember you telling him that, oh, look here, it's not there.
Yeah. Yeah, so it is in the video transmitter tab. Now,
Oh,
there's I don't know, up here at the top, see where the mouse is circling, there's a switch
That
that says
professional-
enable expert mode.
Oh,
Yeah,
expert, yeah.
up here, way up here in the corner, there's a little gear, and if you open that up, there's a checkbox here that says permanently enable expert mode. And if you check that checkbox, what that does is every time you
time
go
now.
into Betaflight, it automatically takes you into the expert mode where it gives you all those little settings. So that's where now another thing we talked about is it's a lot easier if you settle on a frequency.
Right.
Everything I
All the
own,
time,
every FPV airplane, every quad that's analog is on Fat Shark 3, which is band 4, I think, isn't it? Yeah, band
All
4.
right, listen, I would like to say one thing right here. And
Yeah,
that
why don't
is, for whatever particular area you are flying in, there is a best band and frequency.
Probably. Probably, but
Well,
I've
just because of noise, you know.
so what do? Do you take your air droid and do a channel search and see where the clean air is? You can do it that way.
I mean, I
Because
don't
it
know.
shows you it
All
shows
I
you
know
that
is
spectrum.
when I
And
first started playing around with it, I found the channel. I'm like, okay, this one works pretty darn good most of the time. And then I try and put all my birds to that one because it works pretty good darn time. Pretty good the whole darn time. Now, Drone Dave asked, he would like to know more about pit mode.
Pit mode, yeah, and how to do it. And Rigor Mortis is saying hello to you, Mr. Mitch.
Oh, okay. How you doing, Mark? I personally have never used pit mode. Pit mode, I believe, and again, you know, I learn a lot of this stuff 5 minutes before I come in here and tell you about it. So I don't want to belie my title of professor, but
this is one thing that's cool about Tinyhawk 2 is that when you plug in the battery, it's not in pit mode, but it's at 25 milliwatts. And then
if you have it set that way,
it comes that way. Mine came.
Well, it comes out of the box that way, correct?
Yeah, and so you have to unlock the VTX first to let it go to 200.
Yes, you do.
But now the way it is when I first plug it in, I can see it says the band and channel and 25 milliwatts, and as soon as I arm, it goes up to 200.
Right, and that's what that low power disarm setting in Betaflight is for. You can set that.
Nice.
You can set that three different ways. You can set it to off, which means whatever power setting is stored. Like if you have 200 milliwatts stored as your flying power setting, and you have the low power disarm set to off, when you plug in the quad, it'll immediately start sending out 200 milliwatts, which it makes the video transmitter much hotter. Okay, so they developed this thing called low power disarm, and what it does is it moves it to the lowest power setting whenever the quad is disarmed, if you turn that setting on. So the CLI command is VTX _ low _ power _ disarm equals on, or equals off, or equals until first arm. Okay, now what that means, until first arm means that when you plug in the battery, it's at 25 milliwatts. Once you've armed it, it jumps up to whatever you have it set. If you disarm it, it doesn't go back to low power. It stays at 200 milliwatts until you unplug the battery.
Okay. No,
And the reason for that is so that if you put it in a tree and you disarm it, you'll still get your strong video signal to help you find it. And that's why they put that setting in there. So that's something that if you fly a lot of little whoops around a lot of places where they can get buried and lost, that probably would be a better setting for you. The downside to that is if you have your video transmitter screaming at high power and you can't find it for a while, it's not going to be good for your hardware. It's going to be a lot of heat. So you have to balance. You have to balance that.
LEDs might go dark or whatever.
Mitch, when you're in,
a lot of
I thought he
times,
was finished.
a lot of times I find my bird. First of all, if the bird is lost, if it's on if you're disarmed and it goes to a lower power wattage, then you have to get closer to it before you see video signal. It's not going to run the battery down as fast, and you have more time. And then, because I can't tell you how many times I find my birds by arming and spinning the motors.
Well, that's because of the small and the sound.
That's there's two ways, and one time I made a video about it where I actually used my goggles like a direction finder, and that only works if you're at low power. if you're blasting out 200 milliwatts, that's not going to work as good. You want the thing. So I don't use that until first arm setting. I want, when I disarm the quad, I think the benefits of having it go back to low power
25.
outweigh the benefits of keeping it at high power.
I agree. I agree.
Mitch, question. Drone
Yes.
Days asked if you could type that command so he can copy it. I think.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Yeah,
The disarm and
it's
the arm
set
and all that.
VTX.
We can't see it.
VTX.
No, he's gonna put it on the chat. He's gonna type it.
Underscore
Put it up.
low power. Well, I'll tell you what. Rather than type this command,
Mike
let me give
McReynolds,
you guys.
hello.
Let me
Sorry.
give you guys a beta flight lesson here
There you go.
on how to find every command. Okay.
Oh, like we did yesterday? The get help
Yeah.
thing?
So what I need
You
to
know
do
what
here
was,
again
just
is
cutting you off real quick, the most important thing you told me after all that typing was save, because I wouldn't
Save.
have remembered that.
yeah, and don't let that button down at the bottom that says save the file confuse you. That doesn't save settings. That just saves
Right.
the current state of the CLI. Okay, let me plug this back in, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go over here and I'm going to make myself. I'm going to cut you guys out of the picture, but you're still going to be
good.
you're still going to be in it because I want it to be as big as possible. Okay,
No one
so I'm
needs
plugged.
No one needs to see my face anyway.
All right, I'm plugged in. I'm going to go down here to the CLI. And you know, the CLI has a command line down here at the bottom, okay? And this is where you're dealing like you used to do with MS-DOS on old computer. You type something and it gives you the answer. Now down at the bottom here on this thing, you have some, again, I'm in the way. Okay, you have some buttons. This one says copy to clipboard, clear output history, load from file and save. Clear output history basically just cleans the slate on the board up there. So now that's all gone. There are different commands you can type in here. One of them might be version, VERSION, and I hit enter, and it tells me right up top, version, beta flight, STM32F411, 4.1, and all that, and it tells me the board is a Maytech 411RX, and it tells me everything I want to know about it. Okay, there are tons of commands.
You can
And
type
if you want
help
to
and
see,
it'll
if
tell
you want to see, yes, it tells you all kinds of things if you type help. But again, that's kind of confusing. The one command that you want to really remember is get. Okay, and the way they structure the commands is if the command has to do with the VTX, it all starts with VTX underscore. If it has to do with the on-screen display, it says OSD underscore. So if I want to see all the commands that have to do with the VTX, I would type get VTX and hit enter. And then I get all the commands that are stored in here. And this is the VTX channel, allowed range, VTX band equals 4, channel equals 3, power equals 3. VTX low power disarm equals on, VTX frequency, VTX pit mode frequency, VTX half duplex equals on. Anyway, some of these things, leave them at defaults. The ones that we deal with are band, channel, and power, and low power disarm. So if you want to know the context of any command, instead of me telling you how to type that one command, you would type get VTX and all the commands which and then say, oh, there it is, VTX low power disarm equals on. So what I would do is I would go in there and I would highlight it. I would hit Control C. I go down to the command line. I type the word set space and I hit Control V to paste the command. Then I just go and change, and you'll notice that the new versions of Betaflight give you clues. So when I typed,
Oh, I see. Yeah, that's cool.
when I didn't put anything, it's telling me these are my three choices: off, on, until first arm. So if I went on, I just click on, and then I hit enter. And then I look underneath what I typed, and it comes back and says VTX low power disarm set to on. If that's the only change I want to make, I put this in here and I type save, enter. It'll reboot the flight controller, and you've made that change.
Mitch, real quick, let me interrupt you and say hi to Michael McReynolds and Drone Obsessed Jerry. And we have a new character here, Brazil Air View. He's not colored. He's not blue.
Oh,
just
okay.
So you know.
He's
Just wanted to say hello real quick.
Amongst a white man amongst the Smurfs. Okay,
There you go.
Cool. Yeah. At any rate, that's should clarify or point out that the CLI tab is nothing to be afraid of. It's
Right.
It's
actually very friendly.
pretty straightforward. The newer versions, especially with the hints that pop up and tell you what the possible choice is, like taking a multiple choice test with all the answers.
Right.
It's not scary. It's scary if you don't know the basics, and you don't need to know many of the basics. One of the most beautiful things that you can do. I'm going to show you this. This is such a tremendous thing. You get yourself a new quad, right?
Right.
You get a new quad here. Let me go back to that screen here, and I'll just make it this
Open
big
up your
so I
package.
can look at your pretty
hello
faces.
to Mr. Drone Pool who just joined us. Go ahead, Mitch.
Hey Dan, how you doing? Well, let me go ahead and make Brazil Air View one of the gang and give him while I'm thinking about it.
By the way,
give him
while you're there, Mr. Chris Hope has a question. How do you enter? I'm going to say enter my camera on the quad to show on my goggles. Tinyhawk 2 Freestyle RTF.
How do you?
You just need to scan with your goggles, Chris, and find the channel that's already on.
Are you talking? Well, the camera. You don't do anything about the camera. The camera's transmitting a signal on one of the channels, Chris, and you have to scan and find out. Well, you can either scan and find out what channel it's on, or you can plug it into Betaflight and see what it's set to. If it's indeed set to anything, Carlos, like yours was not.
Yeah.
So if you have a set of goggles and it has a channel scan feature, turn on the quad, click the channel scan feature, and it'll stop somewhere. Now, the downside to that is that sometimes that isn't the channel. It finds part of the signal on a closer channel, and then you go and fly and find out you got no range. So you have to verify. Once you find a channel, you should be able to see the on-screen display in the goggles. On the on-screen display, you should have an element that tells you what channel you're on. So that's when you double check that the channel that the drone tells you you're on is the same channel you have your goggles tuned to.
He's getting no picture. He's getting no picture, Chris Hope. He should come on the stream and show us what he's doing.
Yeah. Come on in, Chris, and we can talk. We can see if we can fix that.
No, it doesn't have a lens cap, that particular quad. Sorry, Mitch, go ahead. I'm quiet.
I was going to come in here, and I had a thought, and now I've got sidetracked. What was I going to show you? You remember? It'll come to me in a second.
I'm glad I'm not the only one that does that.
No, I mean, I had a mission here. I had a mission, and then
somebody
we got
rewind
off on
the video
Chris's
tape.
problem. Oh, I know what I was going to show you. Okay, let's go back in the CLI tab. Here's a trick. You have an OSD layout that you just love, okay? You have everything placed exactly where you want on the screen. Not only that, but you're clever enough to have 3 different OSD layouts and a switch on your radio to switch between them while you're flying.
Yeah, that's pretty clever, but I wouldn't.
Okay. You have spent an hour setting that up and perfecting it on that quad, and then you get a new quad. Okay? So instead of going through all that work again, you go into the CLI tab. You type the command get OSD. And now you'll see all kinds of settings here. Okay? All you do is basically
Copy.
copy. You want to find the well, actually you can't do it with a get command because that's, I'm sorry. You type diff OSD.
Well, I mean, couldn't you just highlight
No,
it?
this is what I want. I want the diff command because it doesn't give me all the options. It just tells me what the commands are. When you do a get, it gives you all the options and everything. So what I would do is I would do a diff command. Let me clear this out again here. Clear output history. Type diff. Now what diff means is show me everything that's different from the default settings that this version of Betaflight starts out with. So when I hit diff all, everything that I've changed in these things is showing up here. Believe it or not, this is how much has changed from the stock settings. So what I'm looking for is these commands that say set OSD. And these settings that say set OSD in here, if I copy these, all of these that say set OSD right here,
Right.
I copy those
Mm-hmm.
and hit Control C, maybe open up a notepad, open up one of these things, paste it in here, say to myself, save this as my OSD setup in Betaflight.
There you go.
Okay, fine. I'll put it on my desktop and save it. Now I've got this file, and every time I get a new quad, I just copy this right here, hit Control C, I open up my CLI, I put it down here in the command line, I hit paste, Control V, and hit enter, and watch what happens. It sets every one of those settings for me. So when next time I plug in my quad, I have all of exactly the same layout on my OSD, rather than spending an hour. And you can do that with any of the settings in Betaflight. When you either get a new quad or you upgrade the version of your quad to a newer version of Betaflight. But there's a caveat there. You have to be very careful, because sometimes when they do major version changes, they change the way some of the commands work. So you have to know what commands not to copy over, and that gets a little hairier and a lot more than I want to get into now. But this is a way to copy certain things that are going to be consistent from version to version. You can do the same thing with your modes, your switch modes. Okay, you know how you set up your modes and your tabs in Betaflight? You can copy all your mode settings. If I type here get, well,
That's
let me
the same as copy model also, though, right, Mitch? When you copy a model, same.
Where are you?
On your controller, I go to copy model.
Oh no, that has nothing to do with it. That only when you copy a model, that only copies your switch settings and all the settings in your transmitter. It has nothing to do with Betaflight. This is the
I understand,
the flight controller.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
So if I go back into here and I say, let me clear this out. And now remind me not to save this, because I don't want to save any of the stuff I'm typing, although I haven't made any changes yet. If I type diff all and I look for modes, set OSD, here's the modes. AUX, see these things that say AUX? these are the different mode switches, the settings for the arm switch, the disarm, the mode switch, and the beeper switch. If you just take this and copy and paste it in a CLI of a new quad, then all your switches and modes will be set up the same way. So there is a lot of information in these settings that you can indeed copy from one quad to another. It may be a little more advanced than you guys are ready for, but down the road, when it gets time to actually do this, I'd like to actually show you on a live stream how it's done, because it's pretty neat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to disconnect from this. I'm going to put myself back in the picture.
Chris Hope fixed his quad already. He's got picture.
Did it work?
That was quick. Yeah, got a quick picture, quick fix.
Damn little screws, he says. Chris Hope. Thanks, John. I read that earlier.
Those
I
are
just unplugged everything and. Oh, so
Now,
basically,
Chris,
all he did was rebooted it, and it worked.
I wonder if he knows that has to be unlocked.
Oh, he was on a locked channel. He didn't unlock his. He hadn't unlocked his radio yet. Yeah.
Wow.
When you get a
you gotta
Tinyhawk
unlock
2.
your channel, Chris, because that's the only way you're going to get 200 milliwatts.
Yeah, you got to, and there are some channels when it's locked that you can't use. It'll tell you you're on that channel, but it won't.
It lets you get onto that
They
channel.
have to do that.
I don't understand
They have to do that. They have to do that because of some of the laws, either in this country or other countries, where the government out there says, we'll let you sell your drone in our country, but not if it's capable of transmitting on this particular channel. So they send it to you that way, and then they say, well, we can't help what the guy does with it after he gets it. And they have a way to unlock it, which they don't really publicize too much. It's kind of like the unlocking business. You hear it's hush hush. You hear it in different YouTube. Listen, TBS just had the same stupid thing. Okay, this is their new Micro TX module, the version 2. And if you were to look at this module, the one thing you'll notice that's different from the module before is that the antenna is not removable. Okay, if you look at like my R9 module here, the antenna, you can unscrew it and change antennas. But on the TBS module, it comes with the Immortal T antenna, and there's just a big hunk of plastic up here.
Right.
And you can't remove it. And everybody saw that and said, what the hell is that? I want to be able to put a different antenna on there. I might have a bigger antenna. I might have one I like better than the Immortal T. In order to get FCC certification for this module, one of the requirements was that TBS had to make it where the antenna couldn't be removed. However, there's two little screws right up top here that you can take out.
Yeah.
And there's about a 32nd of an inch little tiny piece of plastic on each side of this, making this basically one piece with that. But if you take those screws out and take a little snipper and snip those two little tiny plastic things, then this cover comes off and you can remove the module. So basically what they did was they said, okay, FCC, we did what you wanted us to do, but we're not going to make it real hard for somebody that wants to, put a different antenna on their thing. And it's really funny when you look at the tiny little plastic connection there. You could just probably pull it, once you got the screws out, you could probably just pull it off. Now, a lot of companies have to do that because of stupid rules, and the hoops you have to go through to get EU or FCC certifications on consumer products is tremendous. It's costly, reams of documentation. They got 5 million different rules you got to follow, and bureaucrats who make their living doing nothing but giving you a hard time.
Yeah.
So this is how they worked around it, and that's how they worked around the
Page not found.
the power setting. Mars, have you seen this,
That's
Mitch? The Flying Sandal 1S parallel
Don't
charging
bother,
board.
Mitch. It doesn't work. It doesn't work. It's page not found. Don't bother. We just did
Okay.
it.
Well, Flying
us
Sandal
a real
1S. Let's Google that and see if we can find that. Let's see. The Flying Sandal 1S series charging board giveaway. Bang good. Here it is. Okay.
Oh, that's it.
So,
for Bangor? Keep it.
Hold on a second here. So here it is. The Flying Sandal 1S. No. This is a flying motorcycle thing. This is a bag. Well, it says this is that's bag good. So
Mitch, the link is on the stream, and it'll take you to the RDQ website. Mars linked it.
oh, okay. So the only problem is whenever I click a link in the stream, I lose my. No, I did it. Okay, there it is. All right, the Flying Sandal one. Yeah, I saw that.
How much do they want for it? Can't see.
Parallel is a parallel. That's a parallel charging board or a series charging board. The Flying Sandal came up with this
There you go.
handy little board out of the need to
Technically,
storage charge their whoop. What?
Technically, it's series and parallel.
Well, technically, it's not parallel. It's series because
Right. But
it's series.
the
It's
balance part still works.
wait a
So
minute.
what
Hold on a
it
second.
does is it only takes 4 batteries, but it treats the 4 1S batteries as a 4S battery.
Then that's series. That's not parallel.
It's
They're
series
calling it a-
and parallel because
no, it's
the
not.
main battery connector is there too that monitors the entire package of the 4 packs.
Okay.
So it's
Now let me
measuring-
tell you. Let me stop you right there and tell you why it's not parallel.
Okay.
A parallel connections of batteries is you take 4 batteries, you take all 4 of the positive leads and you screw them together. You take all 4 of the negative leads and you screw them together, and you have what's called a 1S4P battery. There is no way to separate each of those batteries to find out the voltage from each individual battery like a balance connector.
No, because
you-
the way the balance board is built,
Parallel.
because you notice it has 2 tails. It has both a 5-wire lead hanging off of it and a main power lead. And so that 5-wire lead, the white one, can see the voltage of each of the cells.
Ed, let me repeat myself.
It's
Okay.
series.
If
It's
you
series.
wire batteries in parallel, all the positive leads are connected together. All the negative leads are connected together. It
Yep.
becomes one battery. There is no way to read individual cell voltages in a parallel battery. They're calling that a parallel board because that's what guys are used to calling these parallel charge
Yeah, you
boards.
can charge.
No,
more
This
than
it's
is
one
called
a
battery.
series. This is a
called
series.
balance board, actually.
Ed, please don't.
Okay, I'm sorry. I'll
Listen,
shut up.
listen. The way this is wired is let's start with the bottom battery on this board. Let's start with this battery right here. The negative side of this battery is wired to this black wire over here.
Mm-hmm.
The red wire is wired to the positive side of the last battery. Then each of these batteries goes from plus to minus, from plus to minus, from plus to minus, and each of these balance leads is connected at that point where between the 2 batteries. That's how a 4S LiPo is built. And what this does is it takes 4 1S LiPos and turns them in effectively to a 4S LiPo so that you can balance charge it, which means that you cannot use this device unless it has 4 batteries in it. You can't just plug 1 battery or 2 batteries in it.
I
It has-
understand all that, Mitch.
So there's nothing parallel about this.
Yes.
It's
Yes, because that 5-wire balance lead is parallel.
It is that. It is not.
Yes, it
Ed,
is.
Ed,
Yes,
Ed.
it is.
All right.
Yes,
I'm
it
gonna
is.
I'm gonna agree. I'm gonna agree to disagree with you.
Okay.
There is nothing. This is
Boys,
not a
boys,
parallel
boys,
charging
time
board.
out, time out.
Okay.
Very
Let 'em-
nicely.
Let him talk. Let him talk. Let him.
No, I'm telling you that I have built hundreds of battery packs in my life. I've built both parallel packs, serial
I'm an
packs.
electrician, Mitch. I know about them.
Well, yeah, but Ed, you don't. Being an electrician, this is not something you deal with as an electrician. An electrician, you deal
Okay,
with.
let me just throw this at you, Mitch. Just think
Okay.
about this just for a minute. Okay.
Hey, do me a favor. Hey, Ed, do me a favor.
Yeah.
While you're talking to us, come on the stream, not your flying.
Your face.
Oh,
Your
I'm
face.
sorry.
That's all right.
I'm sorry. You're right. You're absolutely correct.
Because I'm tired of yelling at your flying.
Well, I yell at my flying all the time.
There you go.
Okay, what I'm getting at is the reason I'm saying there's a parallel component to it is on that board is a 4S balance lead. And on a 4S balance lead, there is one common wire and 4 hots, if you will. Now that is parallel.
No, because each of those hot wires goes to a different spot, Ed.
I
All right,
know. but
I'm not
one-
gonna Ed.
But
Ed. I'm not gonna argue with you
okay,
about
it's
this.
okay.
I'm just
done.
I'm just
trying-
not going to argue with you. It is not a parallel connection. Parallel connection means you take two batteries, you hook the
No.
positives together and the negatives together, and the batteries are in parallel, and there's two leads coming off of it. If you have a 3 parallel, you put 3 batteries, 4 batteries, but all the hots are connected together, all the negatives are connected together. That makes a battery parallel.
Parallel keeps the voltage the same. Series increases voltage. Correct.
Correct.
If
You have a parallel board, if that was indeed a parallel board, on that red and black lead, you would only have a 1S voltage, 3.5 volts, 4 volts.
Yep, that's right.
It's a series board, so you measure the red and the black difference on that board, and you end up with 4 times 1S. You end up with a 16.6 volt 4S battery, and the balance leads. The first lead is ground, the second is 4 volts, the third is 8 volts, the fourth is 12 volts, and the final one is 16 volts. And that is a series battery. That is a 4S battery, not a 4P battery. It's a 4S battery. They're calling it they're calling it a parallel board because guys are used to thinking when you plug batteries into a board like that, it's a parallel board. It's parallel in name only because it charges 4 batteries at the same time.
Right.
But in a true parallel board, you don't have to fill it up. You can put 2 batteries in it, or 1 battery, or 3 batteries. In this case, if you remove a battery, it's like removing a Christmas tree light and a string of lights. You remove one, they all go out. There is no connection across the batteries anymore. I know this, Ed. I'll be right back.
Ed, it's
Be right
series.
back.
Ed, Mars is saying it's series. Hold your head up. Let's see that mug. It's a misprint.
No, I'm just saying he's not getting it. And I was the same way when I first heard about it, and I poo-pooed it. I poo-pooed it. I absolutely poo-pooed it. I said,
Guys,
that doesn't happen.
I built one of Ed. I built one of those things. I built one of those things.
Look, Ed,
I built the same
showing you a
thing.
picture.
The same thing that's in that box is right here. You got on one end you got 4 places to plug 4 1S batteries in. On the other end you got a balance lead and a XT60. I built this. This is
So
this
let me
is
just ask you this question, Mitch.
okay. You're not going to capitulate here, are you, Ed?
No, I just want to ask you a question.
Okay.
And that is, if both leads weren't necessary, then why do you have to have them both plugged in for a balance charge?
Because your balance charge, you could conceivably charge the batteries with just the balance lead.
Yes, that's true.
But chargers are built to charge your batteries from low to high, and then the balance lead is used to monitor the in between voltages at each cell, and that controls. They use a combination of both, but that's just the way chargers are built. You don't need.
What I'm trying to tell you is that balance lead is a parallel connection to those batteries.
No, it isn't.
Look at each cell,
All
the
right.
one wire.
No, it's not looking at each cell.
That's-
It's looking at
Okay,
all.
okay.
Wait,
Ed, here's
Mitch,
the problem.
hold on.
Here's the.
Mitch,
What?
Ed, he's explaining to you that it's reading 4 at once. It's not reading 4 individual. If you take one out, it kills the equation. Correct, Mitch?
Mm-hmm.
No, here's the difference. Here's the difference. Here's the difference. Yeah.
Batteries.
So
Right.
then it's not
So here's the
parallel
difference,
if it
Ed.
needs
Ed.
4.
Ed.
Don't worry.
I've had enough. Sorry, guys. I've had enough of this. Here is the difference. Here's the problem. Ed, your definition of parallel is different than my definition of parallel, and that's why we're having a problem here. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Your definition of parallel is not what I'm thinking when I say parallel as it applies to batteries. Your definition of parallel is something else. There is nothing parallel anywhere in this thing. Nothing is paralleled. No two cells are connected plus to plus and minus to minus.
They are on the end of that balance lead.
No, they're not. This goes from the minus of
Not
the
on the
lowest.
power lead, on the
No,
balance.
Ed, this goes from the minus of the lowest to the plus of the highest.
Yeah.
There is nothing parallel about that.
No, and that main power lead, yes, it is series all the way, and I would not think to dispute that.
That is series through the batteries. This is a balance lead that just taps the in-between place in the
I'm
batteries.
telling you, that balance
boy.
lead is in parallel with the
We're
cell.
done.
That's all I'm trying to say.
We're done. We're done talking about
Let's
this.
agree
Yeah.
to disagree.
Okay, we're
Let's
done
get
talking
along.
about it.
Mitch, I gotta
Yes.
get going. I gotta
All
get
right,
ready
Art.
for bed.
Okay.
Hey, thanks
Okay.
for
When's your
having me
4-day
in. It was
weekend?
very lively.
When is your 4-day weekend?
Everybody
Did you have it
have a great evening, and catch you next time.
All right,
All right.
buddy. Take care, Art.
When is
All
your
right.
4-day weekend? I thought you had it. Oh, coming. Excellent.
Okay,
entertainment.
and we got Jim to come in. Hey, Jim, how you doing, buddy?
His YouTube is on. I'm hearing it echo.
John Cuppy's got the idea. Anytime somebody says parallel, we take a shot.
Hey, even the
That's-
guys on their channel are saying that it's not parallel.
It's not parallel. There's nothing parallel about it. And Ed, I can argue with you till you're blue in the face, and you're going to disagree with me. All I can tell you is this is not nothing parallel about it.
If you scroll down to their comments,
You have your
YouTube is on.
Jim,
Echo.
you got your YouTube audio on.
Echo, echo.
Echo. We're hearing an echo.
Art is out.
okay.
Well, I'm glad to hear Art is using his, what do they call that, liftoff, or whatever the other one is, Velocitron.
Anyway, I don't want to, I don't like conflict, and I don't like to argue about it. You know what you know, and I know what I know, and I think it's all semantics, Ed. I think you're looking at it a different way than I am. But so Jim, how you doing, buddy?
Well, the only way I found out anything about this was when I took apart an Inspire battery, because they have 12 cells in there, and they're
Right.
actually wired in series together and one big parallel. So two
Yeah.
cells make up one cell.
It's
We're told.
it's a 6S2P.
That's a such thing.
Right.
Yeah, 6S2P.
That's like taking two 6-volt batteries, making them into one 12-volt, and then hooking up a whole bunch of
Another,
those
yeah, you
sets
take
together.
4 batteries,
Right.
you hook 2 of them in series, the other 2 in series, and then put them
And
next to each
parallel.
other, connect the bottom and the top, and
Yep.
you've got a big hunkin' 2S battery times 2.
Right.
And
That's exactly what they do with the
So
Inspire.
in order for any battery to be considered having a parallel component to it, somewhere in that battery, two positives have to be connected together and two negatives have to be connected together to have a parallel component in a battery.
Anytime you have
Okay,
series
you have to
that comes
take
from
two
Inspire-
cells and put them together
Right.
like this. Well, in this lead, there are no places where two positives are ever connected together on any two cells. The cells are all in series between the big connector, which gives you the high voltage and the low voltage from the four cells, and then all the balance plug is just a tap into the center point of each cell, but it doesn't connect anything in the cells. You understand what I'm saying? It's just a way for the charger to read the voltage of each cell. But once you unplug it, there's nothing that connects two negatives or two positives together on any of these four batteries.
What is this thing actually doing then?
Okay, this
Since it's
thing is
not connecting
designed.
any of them.
This thing is designed to take four whoop batteries, four one-cell batteries,
Right.
and charge them all at the same time in a regular LiPo charger. And what it does is it basically builds externally a 4-cell LiPo battery. When I plug a battery in here and then I plug a battery in here, it connects the minus of this battery to the plus of that battery, and then the minus of it to the plus and the minus to the plus. So I have 4 batteries in series once I get them all plugged in.
Ron Lockwood said hello to you, Mr. Mitch.
Oh, hey Ron, how you doing? How you doing? The outside. What I'll do is next week we'll talk about. I'll draw a schematic of this, and that'd be an easy way to show
But
you
the
what
one
it
you're
does.
holding now, you can do 1, 2, 3, or 4. You don't have to. Do
No,
4
has to have 4. Has to have
that
4.
has to have 4.
Unless,
okay.
yeah, there is no way unless you build a balance charger designed for 1S, lipos, which nobody has. There's, any of these gizmos that you have, you're building. Now, I could make one of these for two of them, or I could make one for 3 of them. I can make one for 10 of them, but I
Let me get
can't.
something and show you. Hold on.
I can't not have all the batteries plugged in. This thing basically creates a 4S battery. And if you look at a regular 4S battery, you see it has a balance connector and it has the main power. The main power gives you the full voltage of the 4 cells of the battery, and the balance connector gives you a tap into the junction between each battery that's in series. And all this wire does is it builds a 4S battery out of 4 1S batteries, as if I had taken them and soldered them all together like they do when they build a battery pack. It's a temporary way to take 4 individual cells and turn them into a 4S battery, so I can plug it into a standard 4S battery charger and either fully charge it, storage charge it, and that was the reason that I made this. Not to fully charge it. I could charge them in their little charger it comes with, but I wanted a storage charger. And in order to do that, I had to be able to use a battery charger that had storage charge capability. And in order to do that, I had to have this kind of end. I had to have an XT60 and I had to have a balance plug. I elected to build a 4S version of this. I could have built a 6S one or a 3S or a 2S. It's all the same. You got
Mitch.
the big plug goes to the outside. Anyway.
You see this guy here? You can plug 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Yeah, but that's not a balance charger.
No,
that's
it's not
just
a balance. It's just charging,
that's just
right?
6. That's just 6 separate individual
Correct.
battery chargers living on the same board.
But
One of those chargers has nothing to do with the other.
No. I
Hi,
understand.
Chris.
What I'm saying is, but you can't really. Can you balance 1S battery?
No, you
No,
can't
right?
balance it that
Okay,
charger.
that's
No,
what I'm
it
saying.
charges.
So there is no
You
balance.
you set those things to charge to 4.2 or 4.35
and
volts a
that's it.
cell, and that's it. You plug them in and they fully charge. That's
then the
why
word
these
balance
people are
shouldn't
coming
be-
out with these. That's why they're coming out with these kind of gizmos. But when they threw the word parallel on the name of this thing, they misnamed it.
It just means more than one.
They're using the word parallel to mean
More than one.
multiple. Yeah,
Right.
not the way it's has nothing to do with the way it's wired.
Right.
If it would, there's nothing parallel about the way this thing is wired. It's pure.
They made it
Yes.
sound like it was wired differently
Yes.
from your typical.
It is, because it's
parallel
on a
charging
typical
board.
wording right there.
Yeah, on a typical parallel charging board, it does indeed put the cells in parallel. But that's terrible when it comes to balance. When you charge your batteries in those things, they're not going to get balanced properly in a parallel board,
Well,
because
what
you've
I-
got two cells that are parallel. How do you know which one of those two cells is the weak cell and which is the strong when they're all connected together and they're balancing each other out?
What I was always told, I don't know how much truth there is to this, but before you start, first of all, the two batteries should be identical size, capacity, whatever. But then you plug them into the board and let them sit there for 30 minutes before you ever start charging, and they kind of equalize out.
They will. It's like taking two cylinders full of water. One of them is a little higher than the other, and connecting them together with pipes, they're going to find eventually the one with more water is going to fill up the one with less water. And that's to say, I don't like parallel batteries. I don't like them because if you do get a weak cell,
You
if
can't.
you get a damaged cell, you're screwed. Because what it does is it's going to take the good cell next to it down with it because it's parallel.
I agree, Mitch. I give you that.
Oh,
It's even the wording
Damn.
is even tricky. What
Yeah.
this
No,
means
man,
is it
I
will
had
expect voltages to be
1500
closer.
milliamp battery and a 1550, I think. I plugged one into the balance board. Oh, already had a battery on it. Then I plugged the other one in and go.
yeah. Because I don't like these guys who use these parallel charging boards are guys that want to charge 20 batteries at a time. I'd rather, for the life of my batteries and the health of my batteries, charge one at a time. Let the charger deal with only the cells that are in that particular pack, not trying to balance the same cell in another pack next to it. But when they build these 6S2P packs or 6S4P packs or whatever, they're very careful to get very, very closely and packs that are manufactured to very high tolerances that are very, very similar. That's the only way you can make them and be successful with anything that has a parallel pack. Now, I do a lot of times what you can do on a drone if you want more, or you want a lot more power. For example, let's suppose I wanted to throw two 1500 packs on one quad. Well, I can get an adapter that goes from two XT60s into one, and then essentially
Like a wide
connect those two batteries in parallel. But if those batteries are wildly different, if one of them's a 1500 and the other's a 600, I'm going to have problems. That 1500 is going to burn the 600 up because it's going to overwhelm it. So when you do parallel these things, you want to make sure you got exactly the same packs charged at the same voltage too. If
like
one of them's really
generators.
yeah.
So Mitch, you're saying
Anyway.
you can't take a 650 milliamp and a 520 milliamp, put it on here, and charge it.
Yeah, that you can, because that's
That's
six
close enough.
chargers.
No, but I'm saying
that-
a 650 and a 520 at the same at the same time.
that's not the same. Yeah, but Carlos, that's not the same charger. That's six individual separate chargers living on the same board. So if you plug a 650 in and a 520, the 520 will just finish faster.
Okay,
But each
okay.
charger shuts itself off when it reaches the proper charge.
Right.
It's
I'm
not
just
charging
double-
six
I'm
batteries.
not questioning.
Yeah, I'm just
anything.
telling you.
Don't yell at me.
No, it's okay. It's not charging six. It's
Be
not
nice,
charging
friendly.
six. God.
I'm on your
No,
side.
Hey, Chris, how you doing, buddy?
The way they
How you
word
doing,
it-
Chris?
Hey,
Chris,
you
how
got him
you
all
doing?
riled up. He's yelling at me just because I know you.
That's right.
Somebody's got to take it for the team, man. Thank you, Carter.
All right.
Let him ball you out before we get the whole to me.
Oh man.
Chris, your goggles working now, buddy?
Yes.
Good.
Tell
Oh,
me
good,
about your
good.
flying experience, Chris. What would you like to share with us so far in your FPV experience?
It's the super easiest thing that I've ever done to crash. Super easy.
Crash. Right. Have you been able to stay up in the air 30 seconds to a minute at a time?
Yes. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I've
And
been flying line of sight the first.
Okay.
Oh man, no wonder you're crashing.
That's exactly right, Ed. And then I got to flying. Then I got to flying FPV Friday night out in the front yard, and it went dark, and I've been jacking with it ever since.
Oh, you didn't fix it now? I thought you fixed
You
it.
got it fixed? Did you
Yes.
get it fixed?
Yes.
Oh,
It was,
okay.
but now
Did you get
battery-
it out of? Did you get it out of low power? I mean, did you get the transmitter button pushed so you're out of the unlocked it?
Here's what I did, Mitch. I had telemetry coming from the drone, so that was good, but I didn't have a picture. So I took it
Wow.
apart. And I unplugged. There was some, of course, there's some solder stuff, but I started unplugging and plugging it back in and mashing down real good.
Oh, the camera actually came unplugged because if you get
camera.
yeah, wow.
So
If
anyway,
you get that's a great you troubleshot it perfectly because when you turn on your goggles and you get nothing, chances are it's your video transmitter. If
Well,
you
how
turn
did
on
your
your
camera get
goggles,
unplugged?
if you turn on
crash.
your goggles,
All of his
if
line
you
of
turn
sight
on your
flying.
goggles, God, I can't finish a sentence. If you turn on your goggles
He couldn't
And you
finish
get-
his.
and you get a VTX information, that tells you that your transmitter is working because you are seeing the VTX information and your
Yeah.
camera's the problem. So you did it right.
yeah, the camera was the problem. I was getting telemetry back, but no picture, And I just took and unplugged it and unscrewed it, which wasn't hard to do because all the screws was already loose.
Always check your screws.
Yeah.
And, the little package that I had Friday night is gone. I don't know where all the extra screws are at. So Rest Day Quads,
Oh,
I just ordered 3 packages from Rest Day Quads where I got on here.
Joe Bullock is saying good night.
Good
Good night,
Joe.
guys.
Mitch, you act like this is your show or something. You don't want anybody to talk.
So
Yeah, I
also
know, I
more
know.
crash, Chris.
I'm just teasing you, Mitch. Don't get upset. You're
Go ahead,
good. You're
Jim.
good.
I want you guys to know that when I told you on Thursday that I was going to cut that show about 15 minutes short so that I made sure I had enough time left. I had 14 minutes left when I went to start this stream from last month. 14 minutes. It says you have used
Perfect.
19 hours and 46 minutes of your 20 hours, and the date it resets is tomorrow. So I'm glad I did that, or I wouldn't have been able to use StreamYards for free tonight.
Gotcha.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
14 minutes.
So
14
they
minutes.
won't cut you off. In other words, Mitch, if you start, it's because you cut. That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, they actually tell you that. They say that if you start a stream that goes over your 20, we won't cut you off. So that was good. But I couldn't believe I cut it that close.
Chris, did you get the screw assortment set they're recommending for $10?
I did. I got 3 of them.
Wow. You got a lot of screws loose.
Well, I got one on giveaway. I know a guy. You know a guy, so I'm
Gotcha.
sure he crashed with you today. I'm sure, didn't he?
But he's starting to get the hang of it, isn't he?
He is.
Yes.
Is-
Somewhat.
I didn't get to
yes.
watch all y'all stream, Carlos. And
Yes
it looked
and
like y'all was
no.
having
Yes.
fun.
It
Who
was,
shall
it was
remain? How do you say that?
Who shall
Whose
remain-
name shall remain nameless?
Yeah. He's just a bum. But anyway. No, he's doing
I'll
okay,
tell you, Carlos.
but he has to
the
get
two-
the
the-
rolls in his turns. He's just tello turning. I'm sorry, Mitch. Go ahead.
The two of you guys look like you were having the time of your lives out there.
We
Paul,
did have a good time. We really did.
Paul
Just had
even
fun
said
hanging
that.
out.
He said,
And I wasn't really, sorry, real quick. I wasn't really paying attention to the chat. I really wanted him to just fly and fly and fly. So that stream was mainly about him just getting him up in the air and flying and sharing it. That's all.
I was pretty smart of you, Carlos, to come up with that hookup, that setup.
it really was. It's clever.
Yeah.
I figured just You need a laptop, and what does the laptop need to work? It needs a hotspot.
Now
I
that's
just
what you
wasn't
were
sure if
doing
it
on
was
the
gonna work.
roof. That's the
Well,
same.
not
Okay.
the hotspot, but I was using the Wi-Fi because it's only like 15, 20 feet above me.
Right.
And then I hooked up to my laptop, put the SkyDroid in like I would do it at a home. So I just basically made my cell phone my home router out in the field.
It's not quite as convenient as just streaming from a cell phone, but it can be done.
No. Oh yeah.
It can
Yeah.
be. Yeah, you just have to drag a notebook with you, laptop with you.
It looked
a
good,
little-
Carlos.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well, just think about the other stuff you drag with you. A notebook isn't much more, you know.
No,
Yeah.
you're right.
notebook and SkyDroid.
And the
A lot of guys
possibility-
always have a notebook with them because they want, the big time guys want to make beta flight fixes in the,
Oh, that's right.
in the field,
That's right.
tuning fixes. So no, that was great. That was great.
Mitch, let me share one
guys-
flight. I was trying to get myself into trouble with 2 baseball teams. Check this out.
I saw you were, man. I thought they were going to come over there and kill you.
I was running the bases with the quad. Watch this. They don't know me from Adam. I said, watch, drone bum, watch. I'm going to run the bases. And these guys are just watching me flying. They have no clue of me or drone. I mean, they know we're there, but they don't know us. So I try.
That's
what the
funny.
hell?
nobody's
That's funny.
swung a bat at it.
Nothing. Yeah. I had drone bum with me. He looked scary. They didn't say a word. I think they actually liked it. It was like the Goodyear blimp, New York style, cheapy. All right, that's it. That was it.
That's cool. No, that's clever. That's funny.
It was fun. No, but I want to see
was
it.
cool.
Hopefully, before the year's over, I want to see Drone Bum flying a little bit more consistent. He just needs to. He turns flat, and he doesn't. His turns. He's turning left, and his right thing is
Well-
going down. So he needs to figure all that out.
Here's the problem, Carlos, and I have the same problem. When you fly camera drones enough, the yaw stick, the left stick, becomes the stick you use to turn with.
Correct. Yeah.
You don't use the left stick hardly at all on a camera drone unless you want to go sideways or you're flying a orbit.
Right.
So when you transition from that kind of flying to FPV, where you basically are using the right stick to roll the quad and a little bit of rudder to make sure that it's turning, and of course the amount of rudder you need depends on how steep the angle is.
Right.
Yaw, when you roll it over 90 degrees, your turn is all back stick, all up elevator. When you roll it halfways, your turn is a combination of yaw and up elevator. And if you stay flat, it's all yaw.
Right.
So,
All
and
y'all.
it's different. All
You
yaw.
relate to that, right, Chris? All y'all.
All yaw.
Sorry. But
Well, I never knew that. I never knew growing up in Philadelphia, Chris, that
Sounds good.
I never knew that y'all was singular and all y'all was plural. I never knew that.
I think y'all by itself is.
That's a joke. Come on now.
It
Y'all
is so
singular and
technical
all
sometimes.
y'all
It's
is
amazing.
plural.
Hey,
The
Oh,
only
yeah.
the northern person would
Oh, y'all
come
done
up
lost
with
your
that.
mind.
don't be technical, Ed. So
You
then,
know, that site, guys, they're all over the place on that site. They have the 6S battery charger too, which also says parallel. So that's just a favorite they like to use.
I don't. I thought we were done with that. God, I got a headache.
Yeah, we're done with that.
breathe in, breathe out.
I noticed if you go down on that page, they also have 6X batteries, 4 in a row,
Mitch,
same
that's,
way.
Mitch, that's
Well,
one of the things I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, Jim.
No big deal.
Go ahead, Ed. What were you going to say?
I was going to say what Mitch was just talking about. In many ways, a quad actually does fly like a fixed wing. And the more sideways you go, the more that your pitch back becomes yaw.
Or like
And I call it the pull around, when you roll really sharp to the left or to the right, and then you pitch back. it brings that front end right around, and then you level out and go.
Yeah, it's like when you're on a highly banked racetrack and you roll over. From a driver's perspective, he's going up. He's not going yawn. He's going in this direction. When you fly a fixed wing airplane, we call it bank and yank.
Right.
You know, when you
Yank
fly
and bank.
RC, you bank and then you yank straight back, and
That's what happens.
you roll it over and you pull back on the elevator and it brings you around the turn. Then you roll level again.
Going back to what you were
And if-
saying with the GPS to FPV drone bump, I tell him, pitch up, and you just see him going faster to the ground because he's using the wrong. He's pulling up, but he's not pulling up. Whatever. He gets mixed up.
He's not. Paul, I know Paul. He was not using any roll with his turn.
Right.
So he yaw left, and the bird would automatically roll right and bam into the ground.
If on an FPV drone, all you do is yaw left, the thing will roll over to the right. You need to coordinate both of them to make a nice.
I hope that he watches the replay because that will give him an idea of what he's doing while he's flying and how
He'll
can correct
learn.
it. Oh, he is.
He'll learn. Yeah,
He's lucky.
He'll learn.
And the good thing about it, even though he doesn't do any running, is I get to lose weight. I get to do some exercise.
Well, I mean, I keep telling him, I keep encouraging Paul and telling him that one day, all of a sudden, it'll be a light bulb lighting over your head.
Yeah.
And it'll click. All of a sudden, it will click.
It's true.
And he hasn't quite gotten to the click yet, but
He's not even to the switch. He's getting close to. He's like reaching the switch to click it. He needs more power.
Now, do you have him flying in horizon mode?
I tried in acro a few. That's how he started, but he didn't feel comfortable. And then there were people.
Well,
they were
he's
actually
not
having
gonna
a
learn.
baptism. Go ahead.
If he's not going to break these habits if he stays in stabilized mode. Because
No.
in
It's always
stabilized mode-
no. It's always horizon or acro.
Well,
Definitely.
horizon
but
is
horizon
stabilized.
is still stabilized.
It's still stabilized.
Yeah,
The only difference between angle mode and horizon mode is once the stick gets to a certain percentage, it allows it to roll over. But any less than 50 or 60% stick movement is pure angle mode, pure stabilized mode.
I figured this way he gets used to just the stick movements, and then eventually, once he learns that, then he can go. We started in acro. We did a whole day of acro like last week, but he decided to go in horizon, and he calls me the drill sergeant, and I don't want to get on his case.
Yeah, but he's hurting himself. He's really impeding. I hope you hear that, Paul. If you're still here, you're slowing down you're slowing down your progress by relying on the stabilized modes because
what I said to him, Mitch? Remember the Rolling Stones song about Mother's Little Helper? I rewrote the song to say, I keep running for the shelter of my horizontal helper.
That's good.
I like that. What's up, Chris?
So you're saying fly in acro, learn in acro.
Start off as quick as you can, Chris.
No, Chris, start in. Forget horizon mode even exists because once you start doing flips and loops in horizon mode, you're done. That's all you'll ever do. You'll never really learn after that. Angle mode, stabilized mode.
When you say, "Oh, really?"
When you first start flying, you fly in angle mode just so you can accustom your brain to getting information about altitude and direction. That's all you want to worry about. Those two things. Throttle control and which way the thing is pointed. So you have to go through a little of that because if you try to start in pure acro mode, you're going to be getting way too much. You're going to be getting the thing going off in every direction, rolling over and staying there. It's too much for somebody who's not used to it through the goggles. Too much information for the brain.
Now, I will buy that.
Okay, so you start flying the thing. The minute you can fly a whole pack without crashing. Just fly around and go around a tree or fly around in your house, go through a doorway, not crash into the ceiling, not bang into the floor. Once you've got enough control of the thing, once you've learned that much, I think the best thing to do is to start in acro. Now, if you go into acro and you find you can't keep it going for 2 seconds, then you're not ready for it yet. But keep trying that acro. And the best way, or one of the best ways, is in a flight simulator. When you use the flight sim, a Velocidrone, that's acro. And you'd be amazed how you start getting used to it. And it's a drill, it's training. Whether you're seeing the picture in the goggles from the real drone or the computer simulator rendition of it, it's still so similar in the way the controls affect the what you're seeing in the virtual world. You will learn from that. So even Art's flying in the simulator now. He told me he was flying Velocidrone. So fly the drone itself in angle mode for a while to where you can control its altitude with the goggles on and keep it going, pointing it around, and fly the simulator in acro mode where you can crash and you don't have to go chasing it every time you crash.
Right.
It gets reincarnated every time you kill it.
Mitch,
Yes.
when I started stable, horizon, acro. That's just the way I went. I don't know why people are so against horizon. But
Well,
you're allowed-
horizon. No, and some guys want to fly a modified, stabilized version because that's all they want to accomplish, and they're having fun and they're happy with it. They can fly around, they can do a roll, they can do a loop, and they say, "Hey, I'm Sky King." It's
No. I mean, just to get.
and but some guys don't ever want to try. They don't ever want to go into acro.
No. Paul definitely wants to do acro.
It's a personal thing. It's personal. But what I think, I never use Horizon.
But do you think Horizon will develop bad habits
This time it's personal.
from the beginning?
Absolutely. I think
DJI product makes you have bad habits.
Well,
No,
DJI has
that's a whole
nothing
different thing.
but stabilized. People
that's
think
what
that
he's
when
saying.
their DJI, they think when their DJI drone goes into addy mode that it's out of control. It's still fully stabilized, holding its altitude. The only thing out of control about it is it's not holding a fixed position. Well, that's nothing when you're flying an FPV drone. Not only is your drone not holding a fixed position, but it's not holding a fixed altitude or a fixed attitude. It's everywhere.
I go back to what Ed says. The GPS guys, they operate drones where the FPV fly, and that's not an insult, but it really hit home when I was thinking of Dennis Lovelady. He can actually play the ukulele while he's flying a drone. That doesn't take much flying. That takes a lot more operating.
I was out flying. I had my son and my grandson. We were out by the river at my son's house. I put the drone up in the air, and I said, I'll be right back. I put the transmitter on the ground, went into the bathroom, came back.
Yeah.
The drone was right where I left it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it better be for what you paid for it.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
I did a 4th of July stream, and the same thing happened. I got outside, I had the lowly Hubson up in the air, and I'm like, oh, wait, I need a beer, or I need a tea, or I don't know what. And I just came back inside and left it parked.
I think you went back in for more fireworks or something, or a lighter.
Yeah.
Anyway, MN Paul says, I'm glad somebody agrees, Horizon can teach you control first.
Well, yeah, I agree, Paul, but it doesn't teach you any more control than pure angle mode does. In other words, if you're going to use one of those modes,
go ahead.
If you're just learning yaw control, then you don't need Horizon, because Horizon is the only difference is Horizon allows you to do a roll or a flip. Okay.
Yeah, once you hit the sticks to 60% or so,
Well,
You tell it. You set that. You set that in Betaflight. You tell Betaflight. You tell what percentage of sticks do you reach when it allows it to actually go
Yeah,
over.
but most people don't get as in depth as you do, Mitch. I'm telling you I'm asking you, what is the default?
About 50-60% stick
Okay.
throw.
That's what
Yeah.
I'm getting.
But what I'm saying is when you get to the point where you feel that you want to be doing flips and rolls, you're good enough to start learning acro.
I agree.
Okay.
And
I agree with
once you're good enough to start learning acro, because acro flies so different from any stabilized mode. I know that every one of these iNav fixed wings I have has a stabilized mode. All right, when I'm flying it in stabilized mode, I have to hold the stick over to keep it banked in a turn. Because if I let go of the stick back to center, the fixed wing will immediately right itself. In a real airplane, when you don't hold the stick over, because if you held the stick over, you would roll right over on your back.
Going all the way.
Yeah, you establish a bank, center the stick, do your turn, and then roll the stick the other way to level the airplane. And that's a huge difference in flying technique.
Absolutely.
Holding the stick to make the turn and letting it go to level off, or establishing a bank and then rolling back out. You're flying. You're pushing the stick one way, get into the bank, pull back to go through the turn, and then move the stick back the other way. And at
It's
no
like
time,
you're your own elevators and ailerons.
You're everything. Up, down.
you're everything.
left, right.
You're flying the
Every
airplane.
aspect.
There-
Every aspect. of
Right,
the
and an
drone,
airplane
you have to control.
is not going to right itself unless it's a
No.
trainer airplane with a lot of dihedral and designed to settle back to level.
None of the small planes I ever flew did that. They never
Nope.
righted themselves when I let go of the.
Nope. Yanked it, you roll the thing over. So what happens is if you fly in angle or horizon mode too long, you become accustomed to the style of flying where if I want to stay banked over, I have to keep the stick over. And then it's so totally different. Why would you want to get used to that when that's not the way you're going to really
Oh no, not used to
fly
just,
these things?
just to learn the stick inputs. Like, what happens is I'm sure you know this with new pilots, they'll move the stick a lot, and it'll cause it to jerk. Whereas little by little, you have to realize that all you have to do is just very little correction on the sticks, and that's why I'm saying, just with Horizon, you learn that you don't really need to move the sticks as much to get the bird to do something. It's all little inputs.
Well,
That's the way I see it. Oh, that's the way
I still, in my opinion,
Mhm.
it's my opinion, and
We all
You
got
guys-
one. Go ahead.
Offer no purchase necessary. All for valid at participating locations. Void where prohibited. No animals were harmed during the production of this soundboard. Subject to change without notice. Side effects include dry mouth, occasional pig snort or two, sore stomach, teary eyes, achy jaws, and whatever tingles well. Laughing heart.
And anal warts.
and anal warts. That's the disclaimer that comes with any opinion I might give. Is that the only difference between horizon mode and angle mode is horizon mode will let you flip over, but the feel you get, the stick movements are the same. You fly it the same way. It's a stabilized.
It can't
It's
be.
a stabilized
No.
mode.
I disagree only because of this. Today I took off in stable mode.
The hell did you guys come here to fight with me tonight,
No,
or what?
no,
Both
but
of you?
listen
Did
to me.
you
No,
did you
no.
say let's gang up on Mitch tonight? Is that
Never.
what you said?
Never. Because I went up in stability mode. I went to do a flip thinking I was in horizon acro, and I fell to the ground. But I could have done that in horizon. I couldn't have done it in stability. That's all I'm saying. There is a difference.
Yeah, but the operative word is you went to do a flip. And the idea that I'm saying is basically when you get to the point where you think it's time for you to start doing flips and rolls, you're ready for acro mode.
Okay.
Learn how to
that.
fly. Learn
I
how
can
to
do that.
fly so you don't develop all of the bad habits of flying a
First of all,
stabilized
I would
airplane.
like to say this. Many
No.
of those people here, including myself, learned this crap on stabilized birds. Now, they may not have been fancy DJI birds. They might have just had altitude hold, all that. but we started out flying them line of sight. When you go FPV, it's a little different. I like it better now. I can't fly worth a crap line of sight anymore. It has to be a big bird too.
You have to have good eyesight.
Yeah, well, again, you see the glasses in there, right? So,
And Mitch, we did not conspire to argue with you.
Oh, come on. I'm just busted. You know I don't really
All right, I
believe
hope
that.
so, I
I'm just
hope
busted on you.
I'll do everything to keep you happy and smiling. We don't want to see it.
I know.
Mitch. The people on the stream are worried about your blood pressure.
No, I'm fine. I'm fine.
I'm just saying, hey, Mitch, I mean, I know you do some line of sight flying. I've seen you do some with the fixed wing. You're very good at that. I get mixed up myself.
Well, I've been doing that for 50 years.
Well, that's true.
And see, that is so much ingrained in my memory and muscle memory. Like driving a car. Think about this. When you get in a car, do you even think about what you're doing when you're driving? Do you think about I have to move the steering wheel to the left? No.
Right.
You just do it. You do it subconsciously. It's totally out of your conscious mind.
I am safety conscious, Mitch. I have to disagree with you there. My hands are 10 and 2.
Oh, yeah.
I'm very safety conscious. I got my foot right next to the brake.
Have you guys ever been on a really long road trip by yourself, alone in the car? Okay. And
I thought you'd like that, Carlos.
have you guys ever gone on a trip and you kind of get deep in thought, about something?
And you drive a mile and you don't know what the hell you just saw.
And then 4 hours later, you're 200, 300 miles down the road and you go, Jesus, I don't even remember driving those last 300 miles.
Forget about 300 miles.
You were
that
driving
for a mile.
Yeah, you were driving. Well,
how about when you miss your exit?
Yeah, that's the way it is with anything you learn how to ice skate, roller skate, snowboard, ski, ride a bicycle. Your conscious mind eventually is out of it. It's all just reaction. And so with me, being a good fixed wing RC pilot was both a blessing and a curse too, because drones fly different than quads fly different than fixed wing airplanes, and the stick movements of flying are so ingrained in me that I find myself trying to fly the quad as if it were an airplane, and it reacts differently. So I have to relearn something, which I think is harder than learning something in the first place.
See, I think it would be like harder for me because, I've come to expect certain things from the drone, right? Like you were saying, you don't expect to have to be doing all of that, right, Chris? Is that a little?
Oh yeah, it's definitely you don't let go of the sticks.
No, you don't park it. You don't park an FPV drone. No,
you don't
not
let
even in stabilized mode.
Chris, the best advice in FPV is always keep going forward. That's what I keep telling.
That's true. That's true.
Always like a shark.
Always keep going forward.
Just keep moving. Yeah, I still haven't taken mine to this. I'm gonna take mine down to the football field. I've still been flying out in my front yard where I got trees and everything. So I haven't really stressed it yet.
Well, you don't even have to think about it. You don't even have to think about it a lot, Chris. You just do it. Thinking about it sometimes will just make it harder. You put the goggles on and you're going to be moving the sticks, and your eyes are going to be seeing the result of those stick movements, and your brain is going to be processing that outside of your conscious mind. Your subconscious mind is going to be processing all that, and pretty soon your body learns, okay, when the hand moves this way, this is what happens to the world in my eye, in my vision. And eventually your brain will figure out without you even thinking about it. It's just a matter of doing it. Learn how to ski. You can't think about it. You got to stand up on the skis. You keep falling on your ass until your brain figures out how to balance. And that's why the simulators are so good to start out with.
Mitch, I got a teacher here real handy. He just signed in, Mr. Jerry Carroll.
Drone
What
Up
was
says
that?
Jerry says he wants to fly with you. The other thing I'm going to say to you, Chris, is your camera angle is kind of important. How high, how low? Because if you pitch it up higher, it'll cause you to move forward more. Right, Mitch?
Yeah.
Higher camera angle.
Yeah,
When you pick it up.
yeah, and if in your goggles you want you want to keep the horizon in the middle, okay? So let's take a look at the camera here. Now here I've got this drone. I moved the camera down so I could plug. So this drone has 0 camera angle. So if I'm looking into goggles and I adjust this drone so the horizon is right in the middle, if the drone would be hovering. It would be level. See? Does that make sense?
But you don't want to do that.
If I increase the camera angle to about 20 degrees, and in the goggles I push the stick forward to make the horizon be in the center, when the camera is level, now the drone is pitched down and it's going to be flying forward. And crashed.
Yeah.
You understand that? Yeah.
That's cool. I understand that. It's set right after when I was flying it the other night. I could see everything I wanted to see. I went and flew around my gas meter and come back, flew around my tree, hit the tree, and
that's great.
I got that. I'm good with that.
So you get maybe a 15-degree camera angle. Because if you got a 45-degree camera angle, you're like this. That's how drone racers go. Yeah.
I'm not going to be a racer.
No, I'm not either.
I like
the idea is just to feel like you're flying. That's it.
I like the cinematic aspect of FPV. I think that's pretty cool.
Think about
the flying. Go ahead, Ed.
When you were pitched forward more, now your throttle is doing both forward propulsion and lift. So in some ways, it's less sensitive. And you are always more stable when moving forward. Always.
Right. Yeah, I can see that.
That's Drone Bum's problem.
I think you're ready for acro.
What was he doing, Carlos? He was
He
stopping or
kind
going
of
too
like,
slow?
yeah, he's too slow. Then he hangs out. Then he's like, it's not consistent. But I'll get on his case. I get him.
All right, let's take a look at this flight I flew today with the Cinewoop. All right, I'm going fairly slow here. Now, look at, I watch my turns. Some of my turns, I didn't bank enough. I actually was using too much yaw.
That's a good turn.
And I consciously have to work at making sure that I'm rolling into the turns. Now I'm in the turn, but my camera angle is way too low because look how much of the ground.
Yeah.
I mean, I need to raise my camera angle up so at that speed, the ground and the horizon is in the middle, not that low.
Yeah,
and the only way to correct that is to go slower.
Still looking at the ground.
Yeah, I could go slower. Now there's one point in this flight where I did slow it down to get the horizon in the middle of the thing, and that's a decision that you need to make with each quad. In other words, what's the purpose of this quad? This happens to be a Cinewoop, so this is not something you want to run around 80 miles an hour. So I have to find the right camera angle. So right here I'm low to the ground. It looks like I'm going faster, but I'm really not. It looks like I'm going faster, but I'm really not because you can see that I'm seeing more of the sky in this picture. So I think I need to maybe add 5 degrees to this camera angle.
I don't see anything wrong with that. So what are you?
He's looking too much.
I'm looking at the curvature of the horizon, of the ground at the horizon. You see that big? It looks like I'm flying on a ball. Yeah. Whereas when I pull the drone up, where the horizon is in the center, then the horizon is more straight. See, as I get more sky, you lose that curve at the horizon.
Yeah, but the left and right is still pretty curved. I would just do it because I'd rather see a little bit more sky as well as the ground.
Yeah, but I'm seeing too much ground, and that was the purpose of this flight, was to see naturally when this quad is flying at the speed that it feels that it just feels right. I was looking to see whether I was going to get
Is it basically unscrew, lift, and then screw it tight again, the camera?
Yeah, there's just some screws in the side. It's got two
Right.
screws on each side. Now here's a test. I don't know if you guys saw this earlier, but
Did you do this angle so you could fly through the trees?
Yes, that's a good angle for tree flights. Because you want to
now
go slow,
what I
right,
did
Mitch?
here, not about this speed, cinematic. Look how smooth it is, though. I mean, it's just really nice looking. And this
No,
is
but
a
we're talking
camera
about
feed.
like down low through the trees, like people do.
No, yeah, I
That
want
would
to
be
be
a-
able
that
to
would be a
cruise,
good
cruise
camera.
through things.
That would be
This
a
is
good
a
angle for
cruising
that.
quad.
Yes.
Yeah, this is a cruising. Now, look where I am here. I'm sitting on the other side of that bunch of trees up in the upper left.
So,
And I didn't lose. No, I didn't get one pixel in my video feed.
No, it looks good, man.
It was incredible. That's that CADX system. So I'm.
so
This is not a quad to go ripping race courses or anything like that, but it's a cruiser. It's a Miss Daisy quad. You know, it's designed to
we mentioned
fly
that in the
around
chat
and get
earlier.
nice cinematic stuff.
I wish I had the sound bite for that. I'd play it now.
Mitch, I love you.
Yes.
It's 10 o'clock. I'm going to give my
Yeah.
back a straightening up.
All right, Carlos. Thanks
I had
for
a lot
coming
of
in.
live today. I'm done with live.
Yeah, I know you did. I know you did.
And I
There,
gotta
look,
go,
I'm almost getting it up to where slowed down enough where I'm seeing the right amount of sky.
Right
See,
there,
as I start
right there.
to as I slow down. Yeah, I need to raise that camera just a little, not too much, but I don't want it to go too fast. But
All right, guys. Good night, Mitch.
all right, buddy.
Catch you Thursday
Later,
or
Carlos.
Good
soon.
night.
Chris
Good
Hope.
night.
Carlos.
Love that head.
Bye-bye,
Jim,
bro.
Appreciate the help.
A
Ed.
nice head. Yeah, yeah. I like
Anytime
to
you
see
ever have
that.
a question, Drone Bum has my number. You can always reach out to me. It's
Gotcha.
free.
Have a good night, Carlo.
Have a good night.
All right, buddy.
Y'all too.
Take care.
Mikey says it's way fish side.
Well, that's that. See, now look at that picture there right now. Okay, you see you don't see any curvature because the horizon is in the middle,
Yeah.
and that's where you have to adjust your camera angle so that when you're flying at the speed you want, that's what you see in your goggles, and you adjust that by your pitch stick. How
You
much
say
horizon and how much
you're
sky.
trying to find a speed and battery time. You're trying to get a balance there, right?
Not so much the battery, a nice cruising cinematic type of speed, not a racing type of speed, and not a Mavic creeping along type of speed, but a nice flowing kind of speed. And once you find once you like that, the way the quad feels at that speed, you adjust your camera angle so when you see that much horizon, you are at the proper angle to get that speed. It's kind of backwards. The camera angle determines how fast the quad is, how forward the quad's going to be tilted, because it depends on the camera point straight ahead.
Right.
Is it pointing straight ahead with the quad tilted like this, or is it pointing straight ahead with the quad tilted like this? And that's what you want to find. But the way you do it is while you're flying in your goggles, you place the horizon there. The horizon will go wherever you put it. You pull the nose back, the horizon's going to go down. You know what I mean?
Hey,
So,
Mitch.
yeah.
Mike's asking what angle were you in? Are you in naval
I think
mode?
No. Are you in angle? No. I don't ever fly in angle mode.
He was in
This is-
stabilized mode.
No, this is not stable. That's acro mode. This is acro mode.
He's got the training wheels off, Jim.
Yeah, you can see how as I'm correcting left and right, I'm rolling a little bit to the left and right there. Now this is acro. I don't fly quads. The only time I ever fly in a stabilized mode is when I'm flying maybe a tiny whoop indoors in the house. But it bothers the hell out of me to fly in.
I got in Horizon today when I was flying, and I almost immediately crashed.
Yeah, I don't like it because it's completely and totally different way of flying.
Yeah. Just
But this
be
is
out in a
smooth.
nice, cushy field, Chris, and go for it, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, just try not to put it in a tree. But you know
I
Yeah.
that's
surely will.
yeah.
You surely will. Look, Chris, I've climbed my share of trees. I can tell you that, brother.
Air mode is easy to fly, but it's easier to keep cinematic flow and stable. Okay, I get you.
Yeah, no, I agree, but part of doing cinematic FPV, as far as I'm concerned, would be the graceful rolls where
Look,
you do roll over and come back out into some.
I just want to say, and this guy hasn't been to my channel in forever, doesn't matter. But he flies an acro bird, and he does these amazing shots of these guys base jumping off a cliff out in Arizona or whatever. It's amazing. Virgin FPV.
Huh. Hey, where did Chris go? Where
His phone
did he
dropped
say
out.
goodnight, or did he just dropped out? Oh.
I think his signal went or something.
Oh man, talk about somebody that comes to the party 10 minutes after it ends.
He's been using the. We've
Hi,
been
Brian.
talking in chat. He's been using the simulator this whole time. 75% GPU, Mitch.
Wow.
I'm frozen.
Oh, there you are. We got you. How you doing, Brian?
Hey there. Let me
Hey, Brian.
get on. Okay, there we
I
go.
knew your name started with a B. I just couldn't remember what it was.
You got an echo there, Brian.
No, that's my control tower, dude.
He's still flying the simulator.
I'm on the
still-
ground.
Let me tell you what I did. Let me tell you what I did today. No, you got an echo. I hear myself
Okay,
2
wait a
seconds
minute.
later.
Because I got the only one I'm running right now is StreamYard. Let me.
You were having the problem the other day, B-Mac.
Yeah, I know.
Well, you're not wearing a headphone, are you? You got your speakers.
No, I
so
usually
we're
don't
getting-
have to.
Here he
That's
is.
not wearing a
He's back.
headphone.
We thought you got mad at us, Chris. And
Oh, my internet dropped out for some reason.
Oh.
But I'm fixing to go take a shower, get ready to go to work. I mean, go to bed and get ready to go to work. But thank you for the tips tonight. It's always enjoyable, and I'll let y'all know how it is come Thursday.
yeah, good deal. All right, buddy. Take care. We're gonna shut this down here in a minute anyway. It's getting kind
Glad
of
I
late.
could help you out with all those tips, Chris.
Yeah, Jim. Thanks a lot, Jim.
I'm always here for you, buddy.
You were spot on as usual.
Hey,
Brian,
Mitch,
Brian, have fun flying your simulator, buddy.
let me share the screen real quick.
Okay.
I just
Yeah, I'll
wanted
look at it.
Jim to see that. Now this thing is sitting idle, and like I said, the flight simulator right now is only running about 70%. When this thing was in the air, it was
Yeah.
popping 78 to 88% on that GPU. With 35%.
What kind of GPU do you have?
I've got a
2070.
NVIDIA RTX 2070.
Okay. You
Thank
got
you.
you got the big time one. I mean, I've got like a 570 AMD. You know, just
night,
your
guys.
basic. Got 8 gigs of RAM. Good night, Chris. Take care. Yeah, I've
Yeah.
got a echo there from you.
You're at
Brian.
70% now, right?
68.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. We'll get it. I don't want to get into this flight simulator stuff, or we'll be here for another
No, I
2
just wanted
hours.
to pop in and show Jim that real quick. I wasn't going to
Oh,
hang around.
okay.
I know y'all are wrapping it up anyway, so.
Yeah. Hey, Jim. I took
That's
the
rich.
Microsoft Flight Simulator today. I hooked it. I got it working with my transmitter.
Right.
Here, let me. How do I unshare your? There you go. I got it hooked up. 4 basic controls. You know, throttle, rudder, elevator. I got in a Cessna 150 at Melbourne Airport. Took off of runway 27. Flew out my house, all around my house. And then I flew out to the beach, and I flew up by my son's house. And then I went and landed at Merritt Island Airport. And actually taxied back and shut the airplane down. Shut the motor off and everything.
By the way, this thing is much easier to land than the other simulator was. I've only crashed once, and that was on the first go round. But every landing so far, and I've done about 8 of them now, has gone off without a hitch. So yeah, Jim, I'll be coming to see you and you, Mitch, tomorrow.
You're in Alaska now, right?
Yeah.
I'm in Alaska. I figured if I'm gonna, the wind, this is real time weather. That's what was freaking me out. The winds up there are unreal. I did it here by my house this afternoon, and I'm seeing thunderstorms off in the distance. I'm going, bullshit. And I flipped on my phone, looked at the radar, sure shit, south of me was thunderstorms.
Yeah, it's neat. I definitely need a more powerful video card though. I've decided that there's no way I could use it with this one I have.
Really?
It's nailed. I got everything set to medium and low, and it's nailed at 100%. And it's an 8 gig card too. But it's
That's bizarre.
it's one of the low end. It's 100. It came with the computer. It's like $150 video card. I need to get me a $700 video card.
Seeing as how I'm generally fresh out of flight training school for my 107, those runway numbers mean a lot more now. 27, 13. Oh,
Yeah.
now I know what direction I'm actually headed in.
That's right. Degrees
Very cool.
taken off and landed.
Well, what's really cool for me is I've got thousands of hours of pilot time, real pilot time, in everything from Cessna 152s to corporate jets. Okay, and that flight simulator was incredibly close to real flying.
I flew in a 152 once. It was a Cessna 152.
Well, yeah, it was, of course.
Mitch,
But
you
it-
remember when we had to take puddle jumpers out of Melbourne to Orlando?
No, I wasn't over here at that time.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you had to take little puddle jumpers to go from here to Orlando to go anywhere.
Well, most people just drive to Orlando.
Little 9-seaters or whatever they were.
Yeah, most
They're
people
always
just
fun.
drive to Orlando. Well, listen, guys, I think it's time to shut it down here. I'm to all this combat that we had tonight.
This was so
Yeah,
cool.
I'm sorry.
That
for
was
the
toll on me.
contention,
I mean, this added real. I felt like I had people arguing behind me on the plane. This is great.
Oh man.
All right, I'm going to take
All
off.
right. Okay, guys. Ed,
outta
there was
here.
Jim. Good night, Jim. Take it easy. Thanks for coming in. Brian,
Take it
thank
easy,
you for
Mitch.
coming in. All right,
Same
buddy.
here, bud.
Take care.
Good show.
I
Ed?
kept waiting for Mitch to mute my butt. I had to mute
No,
my
I wouldn't do that. It's more fun to
You
just yell
done
at
it
you.
before.
Oh man. Anyway, you know I love you, man. You know I love you. I have to come up there and beat you once in a while, but I love you.
All right, later, Mitch. I had fun.
All right, buddy. Take care. Take care. Oh wow. Okay. Let's wait for Ed to leave. Ed's not leaving, so we'll do it. All right. Hey everybody, a lively little show tonight. Thank you all for coming in. I'm exhausted, and let's see. MN Paul says the RX 580. Yeah, I've got the 570, and I don't know how much better the 580 is, but if I'm going to buy a new video card, it's probably going to be an expensive one, and I don't know if I'm going to be spending all that much time on a simulator to make it worthwhile. I know that the video card that I have right now is running this whole setup, which the camera's locked up, of course, but don't know why that happened, but it's running that whole setup, and it seems to be holding its own, running OBS and StreamYard and all the other programs and things I'm working on. So for that, I edit video in Premiere Pro on this thing. It renders fast. It scrubs in real time. I have no problems. So I guess it's just not quite up to what the demands are that Microsoft Flight Simulator, but it's a tremendous looking piece of software. And Dan is here. Drone Worship. Hi, Dan. Good to see you. We're about done. So let me say goodnight to everybody. Let me bring in a little traveling music here. There we go. And say goodnight to everybody that's still here. How many we got? Still got 20 guys hanging in there. on a Sunday night. So anyway, have a great week, guys. Jody, thanks for coming in. Dan, good to see you. Ed, you too. Brian, thanks for coming in. Jim, you too, buddy. Good to see you. AZ Drone Dude's still here. Rick Halber, thank you, man. Glad you hung in there, and I hope you're feeling better. Mike, Night Train, thanks for coming in, and thanks for contributing. I know you do put a lot of stuff in the chat, and I appreciate that. And Ed Myers is also here under another name. So let's see who else we got. Pete Nunez, if you're still here, see you out at the field. And thanks for bringing that big helicopter pad out this morning. I really enjoyed that. Chris, thank you for coming in, buddy. Always good to see you. Drone Days, Bob, thanks for being here. I don't know if everybody's still here or not, but Jerry Cavalry, Drone Obsessed is here. Rad RH, thank you for coming in. All you guys, I really appreciate the support. And we did have a lively little discussion tonight. I hope somebody learned something. I know I did. So with that being said, take the rest of the day off, what's left of it. Spend some time, play with your drones, and have a great week. And I'll see you guys around the different chats and live on Thursday night. So say goodnight to the folks. Spank.